How to make your flowers bloom all summer long. Hello, my fellow plant lovers. Welcome back to Earthly Delights, the place where your love for greenery turns into a garden full of life. If you're here, chances are you adore the beauty of flowers in your home and garden. You're the kind of person who feels joy seeing fresh buds open, who takes pride in nurturing plants through every season, and who dreams of a balcony, windowsill, or backyard that stays colorful all summer long. But maybe just like me, you've faced moments of frustration. When blooms fade too quickly, leaves turn yellow, and no matter how much you care, the flowers seem to give up. Don't worry, you're not alone. Every gardener, from beginners to experts, has been there. The good news? There are simple secrets that can transform those struggles into endless waves of blossoms. In today's video, I'll share proven techniques and fresh tips that I've learned over years of experimenting, failing, and finally succeeding. These are tricks that will not only keep your flowers alive, but make them thrive, whether in your indoor pots or outdoor beds. Stay with me until the end, because the last tip is one most gardeners overlook, yet it makes all the difference. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our growing family of plant enthusiasts. Together, let's make every corner of your home bloom with beauty. Part 1. The mindset of a blooming garden. Every successful garden starts with more than just good soil or the right fertilizer. It begins with the right mindset. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to have a natural green thumb, it's not magic. It's observation, patience, and a willingness to learn from every season. Think about the times you've rushed to water your plants without checking the soil or trimmed leaves without understanding why. I've done it too. Years ago, I lost an entire bed of foxgloves simply because I was too busy to deadhead them before leaving for a trip. It was heartbreaking. But that loss taught me something powerful. Plants talk to us through their growth, their color, and even their struggles. All we have to do is listen. Your flowers, whether they're on a sunny balcony or in a cozy corner of your living room, rely on you not just for care, but for understanding. When you observe them closely, how they react to sunlight, how quickly their soil dries, how they perk up after pruning, you start to feel their rhythm. This connection makes you more than a gardener. It makes you a true caregiver. And here's the beautiful part. The patience you practice with your plants often mirrors the patience you build within yourself. Each new bloom becomes a little victory, reminding you that growth takes time. So as we move forward, keep this in mind. You're not just growing flowers, you're growing a relationship with nature. Up next, I'll share one of the simplest yet most transformative habits every flower lover should master. Stay tuned, because this step alone can turn struggling blooms into a vibrant, nonstop show of color all summer long. Part 2. Mastering deadheading and strategic pruning. Now that we've set the right mindset, let's step into one of the most powerful practices to keep your flowers blooming: deadheading and pruning. Many plant lovers overlook this simple habit, yet it holds the key to nonstop color. Imagine your plant as an artist. When its flowers fade and seeds begin to form, all its energy shifts toward producing the next generation of seeds, not new blooms. By removing those spent flowers, you're whispering to your plant, "Don't stop creating. Keep painting this garden with more colors." I remember one summer when I neglected my foxgloves before heading on vacation. I came back to find them drained, with all their energy poured into seed production. But next to them, the few I had deadheaded earlier stood tall, still bursting with green vitality. That was my wake-up call. Ever since, I've made deadheading a ritual, snipping away the old to make room for the new. Pruning works in the same way, but with a broader touch. When you cut back leggy stems or thinning growth, the plant responds by sending out fresh shoots, fuller and healthier than before. Don't be afraid to trim, even when it feels risky. Plants are resilient. They often surprise you by bouncing back stronger than ever. Do this early in the morning when the plant is well hydrated, and use clean, sharp tools to avoid damage. As you prune, notice how it feels, almost therapeutic. Each cut is like removing a burden, allowing your plant to breathe and refocus its energy. Keep this habit alive through the season, and you'll watch your garden transform. And just when you think it can't get any better, we'll add another layer of care: the way you feed your flowers. In the next part, I'll reveal how to nourish them without overwhelming their delicate balance, ensuring their colors stay radiant all summer long. Part 3. Feeding your flowers the right way. Feeding your flowers is like cooking a meal for someone you love. It's not about giving them everything at once, but giving them what they need at the right time. Many gardeners believe more fertilizer equals more blooms, but that's far from true. Too much can overwhelm your plants, burning their roots and upsetting the natural balance of the soil. I've learned this the hard way. Years ago, eager to see quick results, I used synthetic fertilizer too often. At first, the flowers seemed to explode with growth, but soon their leaves became weak and the blooms faded faster than expected. It was a reminder that plants, much like us, thrive on quality nourishment, not overindulgence. That's why I treat fertilizers like vitamins rather than meals. Throughout summer, I rely mainly on rich compost and organic feeds that build healthy soil. Homemade compost tea, worm castings, or even a simple banana peel soak can give flowers a natural boost without harming their roots. For particularly demanding plants like petunias, I occasionally use a diluted synthetic feed, only when I see they need an extra push. When you do fertilize, make sure the soil is moist so nutrients absorb evenly. Gently loosen the surface, allowing the feed to penetrate instead of running off. Avoid spraying leaves. Instead, pour at the base where roots can drink deeply. This balanced approach gives your flowers lasting strength, encouraging them to keep producing vibrant blooms rather than exhausting themselves. Think of it as helping them grow at their own pace, naturally and beautifully. In the next part, we'll move to something just as essential as feeding, watering smart. Because even the richest soil can't save a plant that's thirsty or waterlogged. I'll show you how to master the art of watering so your flowers never suffer under the summer sun. Part 4. The power of watering smart water. So simple, yet so often misunderstood. Many gardeners either give too much or too little, and both can be equally damaging. Flowers need consistency, not extremes. The secret lies not in how often you water, but how deeply. Shallow watering only wets the surface, encouraging weak, shallow roots. Deep soaking, on the other hand, trains roots to grow stronger and reach down where moisture lasts longer. I've seen this in my own garden. One summer, while rushing through my routine, I sprinkled water lightly every day. The blooms looked fine at first, but during a heat wave, they collapsed. In contrast, the pots I watered thoroughly, letting the water soak deeply, stayed vibrant even through the hottest afternoons. For potted flowers, it's crucial to check if the soil is compacted. Over time, it can harden, causing water to run off the sides instead of nourishing the roots. A simple trick is to aerate the soil gently with a stick before watering, allowing moisture to reach where it's needed most. And don't forget to mulch. Whether with garden scraps or straw, it locks in hydration and keeps roots cool. If you're someone who travels or forgets to water, there are clever hacks to keep your flowers safe. Self-watering stakes, inverted bottles, or even placing pots in a shallow tray with water for a few hours can make a world of difference. Indoors, use pots with good drainage to avoid soggy roots, as indoor plants are more prone to root rot. When you water, do it early in the morning so the plant drinks before the sun is at its peak. Watch how they respond. Hydrated leaves stand tall and blooms stay bright. With smart watering, you give them the strength to face summer's toughest days. Coming up, we'll go beyond survival and into abundance. In the next part, I'll show you how to create a bloom cycle so seamless that your garden feels alive with color from the first day of summer to the very last. Part 5. Creating a bloom cycle that never ends. Imagine stepping into your garden or glancing at your indoor pots and finding new flowers opening week after week as if they've made a pact to never stop blooming. This isn't luck, it's the result of creating a thoughtful bloom cycle. The idea is simple. Plant varieties that bloom at different times, so when one begins to fade, another takes the stage. It's like nature's relay race, each flower passing the baton to the next. In my own garden, I've woven together early spring bulbs, summer annuals, and fall perennials. Tulips and daffodils start the show, handing over to petunias, lantanas, and zinnias, which later yield to asters and mums. The result is a wave of color that never feels empty. Indoors, you can do the same by rotating flowering houseplants, orchids, African violets, or hibiscus, ensuring there's always something to brighten the room. Timing is everything. When planting, think ahead. Mix species that thrive in different seasons and place them together. Even in one pot, you can layer plants of varying bloom times. As the early ones fade, they make room for the next to shine. This layered approach also keeps your garden visually full, without those awkward gaps when blooms disappear. I discovered this magic by accident years ago, when a few self-seeding flowers sprouted unexpectedly between my perennials. They filled the empty spaces, and the garden looked alive in a way I had never planned. Since then, I've intentionally allowed certain flowers to self-seed, encouraging nature to do its work. Once you embrace this strategy, your garden becomes a living canvas, constantly changing, constantly stunning. And to keep this beauty thriving, the foundation must be strong. In the next part, we'll explore the unsung heroes of flower care. Soil, mulch, and support. Elements that quietly hold everything together while your blooms steal the spotlight. Part 6. Soil, mulch, and support. The unsung heroes behind every thriving flower is a strong foundation, and that foundation lies beneath the surface. Soil is more than just dirt. It's the life support system for your plants. When the soil is rich, airy, and full of organic matter, roots expand freely, absorbing the nutrients and moisture they need. But when it's compacted or depleted, even the most beautiful flowers will struggle. Over the years, I've learned to treat my soil like a living organism. I refresh it each season with compost, sometimes homemade, sometimes store-bought. Adding just a layer of this black gold can transform tired soil into a powerhouse of growth. If your pots feel heavy and water sits on the surface, mix in perlite or coconut coir to improve aeration. Your flowers will thank you with stronger roots and brighter blooms. Mulch is another quiet hero. A simple layer of shredded leaves, straw, or even old garden stems placed around the base of your plants can work wonders. It locks in moisture, keeps roots cool during scorching days, and slowly breaks down to enrich the soil further. Even in pots, a light mulch layer makes a difference. And let's not forget support. Those sticks, trellises, and frames that keep tall flowers standing proud instead of bending under their own weight. You don't need fancy materials. I've often used recycled sticks from pruned shrubs or bamboo stakes to gently guide my plants upward. With a little support, flowers grow straighter, receive more sunlight, and bloom more generously. These quiet efforts, feeding the soil, mulching, offering support, may go unnoticed by visitors, but they are the reason your garden thrives. Once your foundation is strong, you can think about the future. In the next part, we'll talk about saving and sharing seeds. A simple act that ensures your blooms will return year after year, carrying pieces of this summer into the next. Part 7. Saving and sharing seeds for the future. There's something magical about holding the promise of next year's garden in the palm of your hand. When flowers finish their show and begin to set seed, many people simply cut them back and toss the remains away. But those tiny seeds are treasures waiting to create new life. Collecting and saving them is not only cost-effective, it's deeply satisfying. You're preserving a piece of your own garden story. I still remember the first time I saved seeds from my sweet Williams. I shook the dried flowers into a paper bag, and out tumbled hundreds of seeds, each one carrying the memory of a summer I loved. The following year, when they bloomed again, it felt as though the past had returned to life, only more vibrant. This simple practice became one of my favorite gardening rituals. To save seeds properly, wait until the seed heads are dry and brown before collecting. Store them in breathable paper envelopes or small cloth bags, labeling them with the plant's name and color. Avoid plastic, as it traps moisture and can cause seeds to rot. Keep them in a cool, dry place, and they'll remain viable for planting when the time comes. Sharing seeds is equally rewarding. Trade them with friends, neighbors, or local gardening groups, and you'll create a network of blooms spreading from one garden to another. It's a beautiful way to connect, passing on a piece of your care to someone else's backyard or balcony. This act of saving seeds ties the seasons together. What you nurture today becomes the beauty of tomorrow. And as you prepare for the next garden, there's another step that will elevate your flower game: planning ahead. In the next part, I'll share how to think beyond the current season so your blooms not only survive, but return stronger and more breathtaking year after year. Part 8. Planning ahead. Next year's garden starts now. While it's tempting to simply enjoy the beauty of your flowers today, the most breathtaking gardens are those planned with the future in mind. Great blooms don't just happen, they're prepared for months in advance. Every summer, as I walk through my garden, I'm already thinking about the colors and shapes I want to see next year. It's like sketching next season's masterpiece while admiring the one you've created now. Planning ahead begins with observation. Notice which flowers thrived and which struggled. Did certain areas get too much shade? Did some blooms fade quickly because they lacked nutrients? Take notes now, while the details are fresh, so you can make adjustments later. This simple habit ensures your garden only gets better with time. Summer is also the perfect moment to order bulbs for spring flowers like tulips, daffodils, and hyacinths. By planting them in fall, you'll guarantee a stunning early display when winter finally lifts. Likewise, consider starting perennial seeds, Rudbeckia, Echinacea, or hollyhocks, so they establish strong roots and reward you with abundant blooms next season. Don't overlook end-of-season plant sales at garden centers. Those discounted perennials that look a little sad now can be divided, nurtured, and planted to surprise you with beauty next year. Indoors, you can plan for winter blooms by forcing bulbs like paper whites or amaryllis, filling your home with color when the outside world is bare. By thinking ahead, you're not just planting flowers, you're planting moments of joy that your future self will thank you for. And as you plan, don't forget to savor the present. In the final part, I'll leave you with an emotional reminder about why we care for our plants and how every bloom is a reflection of the love you pour into it. Stay with me until the end. It's a message you won't want to miss. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause for a moment and look at the flowers around you. Whether they're in pots on your windowsill, hanging baskets on your balcony, or sprawling across your backyard, each bloom tells a story of care, patience, and love. These flowers are not just decorations, they are living reminders that growth happens when we nurture consistently, even in the smallest ways. Over the years, I've realized that gardening is not just about plants, it's about us. Every time you water, prune, or save seeds, you're not only helping your flowers thrive, you're also cultivating resilience and joy within yourself. Those mornings spent tending to your plants, the quiet evenings spent watching buds unfurl, these are moments of connection with nature that no technology can replace. And when challenges come, because they always do, remember that even the most experienced gardeners face setbacks. Plants may wither, blooms may fail, but every mistake carries a lesson. Each new season is a chance to start again, to try something different, and to grow alongside your garden. So, as you care for your flowers this summer, do it with intention. Celebrate every new bud, every returning bloom, and every small victory. Your efforts, no matter how simple, create beauty that spreads far beyond the petals. Thank you for spending this time with me here on Earthly Delights. I hope these tips and stories inspire you to create a space where flowers never stop blooming and where your love for gardening only grows stronger. If this video helped you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment sharing your own gardening secrets, and share this with someone who loves plants as much as you do. Until next time, keep nurturing your blooms, and they will keep nurturing you.